It is what we're thinking about, and what we're thinking about is evolved communication. Hello, and welcome to the Mile High Church podcast. This is the place where we connect and converse to explore communication in our relationships, our social world, inner development, and spirituality. Today, we open our hearts and we get real. Well, hey, it's Barry Ebert, and I'm back with what we're thinking about. And my guests today are Larry and Chris Katzenmeyer, who have been working for a long time on the Labyrinth and doing Labyrinth workshops and setting up the Labyrinth several different places. And we've been buds for a long time, so it's great to have you on the podcast with me today. And how did you guys get into the Labyrinth in the first place? How did it get started for you?
I was at a men's retreat, my first retreat in 2000, and one of the practitioners here at Mile High, he had a Zen meditation type walk at the retreat, and this was in 2000, and there was something about a walking meditation that worked for me that my attempts at sitting meditations actually were real jokes, but the walking meditation was something different. And I came back to Mile High, or back to after the workshop, and I found out that they were having a Labyrinth class here at Mile High, walking the Labyrinth workshop on Good Friday. And having never been in this church prior to that, I came to the workshop on the Labyrinth, and I thought, this really works. This is the same as the Zen walk was, but it's inside. And it takes me somewhere, I'm not sure where, but I like going there. And so then I became involved with the Labyrinth team with a wonderful Labyrinth facilitator named Eileen Flanagan, and I started working the Labyrinth team with her, and then Chris became involved.
Yeah, that's great. One of the things I love about walking the Labyrinth is the process of it. I mean, when you step in and you step onto the path, and you know, all you got to do is follow the path. You don't have to think, and it gives your mind an opportunity to be open. And I do think that it's different than sitting. You have a chance to relax because you know it's a process. You're going to wind up in the middle. You're going to wind up coming back out, and you don't have to be timing yourself or anything like that. I think it does give you a time to calm down and really open your mind. And I've gotten lots of great kind of intuitive hits walking the Labyrinth. That's one of the reasons that I love it. How about you, Chris? How'd you get into it?
I think intuitive hits really says it for me too. And in the story that Larry just shared, in the time right before he started walking the Labyrinth here, he was diagnosed with cancer. And as all people would be, we were pretty anxious and nervous and crazy. And when he walked the Labyrinth, he felt this calmness, right? A peace. So he encouraged me to walk it. Would you walk it and see? And I was in love in the first step. I loved the design. That was what spoke to me in my heart. But it also calmed me down too. And I was experiencing the calm when the insight started happening too. And so I don't know if that's everybody's experience, but that was my experience. And it's why I always wanted to go back to your point. It's like things can come up and do. And when you walk sacred space, it's, you know, the idea of focusing your energy, you know, into and with the divine, you know, that result becomes much more tangible. More tangible. Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I love about it too is I always get that hit of, people have been doing this for hundreds and hundreds of years, and I'm walking on this path like all the people that came before me that were had their situations and their times and their issues, and they stepped onto this path and walked around, you know, and that's one of the things that I love. And I remember when we did a workshop, or you had the Labyrinth out in Asilomar when I was doing the teen program out there, and we walked it with the teens, and they all came over, and it was just such a great thing to see them get into it, and how we all calmed down and really respected it and walked it, and then we had a great time talking about it afterwards. And I think that there's an opportunity that's ancient, and yet it's modern, because the movement aspect, I think, appeals to people too. That I'm moving. I'm not just sitting. And I think in our culture that's moving so fast, we get to move and slow down a little bit at the same time, which I think is great.
I would agree.
And you guys have been to the cathedral in Chartres where they had the Labyrinth too. So what was that experience like?
Well, we've had the great fortune to be there about 6 times now. So I would say that each time it was different. But because it's the great cathedral, and to your point, Barry, that it's ancient, 12th century and all of that you're walking with the ancients, you're walking with history, and at the same time you're in present moment. So it's like holding both, which is interesting and phenomenal. And for me, the Chartres Cathedral just begs ritual. It's all about ritual because it's a ancient church, an old church. So when you kind of walk into the labyrinth, you're kind of doing an ancient procession into the labyrinth. You're walking on limestone that was quarried from a quarry several miles away, and so you're wondering, how the heck did these stones get here? So there's a lot of inquiry going on. The middle of the Chartres Labyrinth used to have this big, beautiful silver minotaur, plate in the middle. But in World War II, they needed the metal, so it was taken out and used. So now it's just kind of a rough middle, but at the same time, it's everything, So when you get to the middle of the labyrinth in Chartres, you're feeling this. I'm feeling, my experience is I'm feeling so much. And then there's a line of view from the middle of the Chartres Labyrinth to a beautiful statuary of Mary, actually Mary ascending. So you've got that going on too. So
Yeah.
It's one of those pilgrimages of a lifetime, I would say.
Yeah.
Definitely. And each time there was a very special experience. Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the things that I love about that is that people back in the 12th century felt it was so important that they took the care and the time and the amazing amount of energy and work and dedication to make it happen, to build it, and to build it with all that sacred geometry and all that perfection in it, and to have that view of Mary ascending, and just to do all this work to make that experience possible for people to have a sacred experience. And I think every version of the labyrinth we see, like we have this labyrinth now in the out in the grounds at Mile High Church that you can walk, that's right out there, and everyone is a little bit different, but everyone has a connection to all labyrinths. I think that's part of the thing that's amazing too, that the process of walking it, there are people that just get hooked on walking it like you two, and it's a process. You look for them, and everything is connected there in a great way. Yeah.
The connection part, as we go on vacation, we always look and go to a website called for World Labyrinth Locator. We go on that to find labyrinths where we're headed. And so if there are labyrinths around, we walk them.
And that grounds you in a new place.
Right.
And I think I think that's cool. Some people are looking for McDonald's, you're looking for a labyrinth.
Yeah, not anything against McDonald's, of course, but
No, I get that. It's just landmarks. But I think that, I think that thing that there are so many of them around in different places, and the place where we do our meditation retreats, there's a labyrinth there, and people go to that labyrinth. That's part of the process too. And I think it's once you've done it a few times, I think you get hooked on it, because it. All you got to do is step in and something's going to happen. And like you mentioned before, at least you're going to slow down, and you're going to feel better when you come back out.
I think for me, the knowingness of it being sacred space, and that sacred space is about focusing your energy. So when you focus your energy in a sacred space, it becomes the space that connects you to the divine. And that to me is how we get connected, or how we connect to the connecting sense of being connected, if that makes sense. So you definitely are connecting to the divine. Actually, the minute you step on, it's more of a metaphor for that, because we're actually always connected to the divine.
Yeah.
But this is the space that you can focus that energy, for sure.
Yeah. And I remember when you brought the Labyrinth to the men's retreat, and we had a big room that we're in, this giant room with all this timber and stone and a fireplace in there, and we had a whole bunch of guys in there and just walked it in silence all one afternoon. And everybody took turns being on there, and the other people just sat around and prayed in silence. And it was just amazing to be a part of that, and to just have a group of men just slow down and have this experience. And most of us hadn't done it before, but just kind of surrendered to it, and just, this is a meditation, and we're going to drop into it. And it's ancient, and people have been doing this for a long, long time, and it must be important, or we wouldn't keep doing it.
Yeah.
And the retreat where we did the walking, so many men walking the labyrinth at the same time, was also one of them. We were talking about dealing with our fathers, and the number of men who were walking that labyrinth very tearfully, both on and on, going in and coming out, was a very clear message that, hey, something's really going on here. I can't name it, I can't categorize it, but all I have to do to look at the faces of the people walking it, or the men walking it, something's going on. And it became very clear to me at that time, this is a big part of my life, to do what I can to make it available.
Yeah.
And I know for you even more so.
Oh, yeah. We definitely, after we were walking the labyrinth to calm down around the time of the cancer period, we decided to give service to the labyrinth. Not because we thought it cured the cancer, but it certainly helped us immensely. And by giving service to the labyrinth, it has just, become a big central part of our life, for sure.
Yeah, it has. You've kind of built your lives around it now, which is great.
Yeah.
You're the labyrinth people, and that's a cool thing. But one of the things I love too is, you're kind of walking into a mystery when you walk into the labyrinth, and it's a metaphor for this mystery that spirit is, right? We don't have spirit figured out, and so the labyrinth, I think, brings us to that space beyond religion, where we just step in to something bigger that we're not going to figure out, but that we can have access to, and that we can open to. And I do love the intuitive aspect of it, because it's not like we're straining to get something. It's like there's things coming into us all the time if we slow down enough to listen. And I think the labyrinth, just by its very process, slows us down and connects us with the ancients and with spirit that's always available to us, and we kind of align our frequency there. And I think that's something that's good. And there's an importance to it that is kind of inherent in the labyrinth. Otherwise, it wouldn't still be there. We wouldn't be doing this for hundreds and hundreds of years through all different kinds of times if it wasn't important. And there's something about the design of the labyrinth too. Can you touch on that a little bit, about the different designs and what they represent?
Sure. There's probably 7 basic, fundamental, used a lot kind of labyrinth designs. And then there's a whole bunch more. But the 7 really have been used since ancient times. And probably the most popular one is the one that's found in the Chartres Cathedral, called the Chartres Labyrinth. It's what they call 11 circuits. So if you count the spaces from the outside to the inside, that's a circuit. So if there's 11 of those spaces, it's an 11 circuit. A lot of times you'll see a 7 circuit, sometimes a 5 circuit. And then there's labyrinths like the First Nation has one called Man in the Maze, which was found in Arizona years and years ago. Very, very close to the Chartres Labyrinth in its design, even though it has different stories. And then there's variations of those. But basically you'll see labyrinths with a lot of turns or very few turns. And both are called labyrinths. But I think the most important thing to say about design, I think that we've been saying for many years, but people get mazes and labyrinths confused. A labyrinth is not a maze is not a labyrinth. And the basic difference is that a maze is here to trick you, to put you down dark alleys, so to speak, and find your way out. And a labyrinth is one path in, one path out. And it's really a metaphor for our life. And it puts you on the path. It doesn't trick you, to dark corners. So
Yeah, I like that. Somebody told me when this labyrinth was being built here that a maze is where you get lost and labyrinths where you get found.
Perfect. Yeah.
And
perfect.
I like that.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lot of times it gets us back on the path. It's a great way to get back on the path if you've been a meditator and you've kind of fallen off for a while. I think going to a labyrinth is a great way to get started again because you're literally getting back on the path that you want to be on, and just being in that energy. I know when you've done the labyrinths here and Good Friday and other things, when you have all the candles in there and people come in and sit and just are in that space, it becomes sacred. You make the space sacred, and the two of you have a lot to do with that because of the intention that you bring to it. Because it's sacred to you, it makes it easy for it to be sacred to the rest of us as well. So thanks for doing that. I appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, and it's great getting to go to exotic places to do the labyrinth, but I think one thing I wanted to just mention is this labyrinth that we have here at the corner of Alameda and Garrison and Lakewood is open all the time, and people can come and walk it. And we're going to have a workshop coming up here about the labyrinth too. Can you touch on that a little bit?
Well, the workshop is going to be July 31st. From 9:30 to 12:30, and it will be facilitated by 2 ministers here at Mile High. And we have 2 labyrinths here now. We have the canvas labyrinth, which we've had since probably 1998, and it's a painted canvas 36-foot labyrinth. The labyrinth we have on the outside, both of which will probably be utilized during the Reverend Zamara and Reverend Chris's workshop. Both of them will be utilized, and the new labyrinth we have here at Mile High, the one that was built May 5th, it's a one-of-a-kind, it's a different design, it's not a Chartres design. But it was chosen by 3 of us who work with the Legacy Labyrinth Project, and Dr. Patty, Reverend Josh, and Todd from facilities here. We all met a number of times before a pattern was picked, and this outside labyrinth that we recently built was built with great energy under the leadership of Dr. Patty, who is very, very much of an energy worker, in big quotes or little quotes, but very powerful energy worker. So both the labyrinths here are very special to me and to Chris and obviously to Dr. Barry. But
Yeah.
we're very proud to be able to offer of them, and to be of service in that way is very, very cool.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys doing all your work with this, and it's exciting that we have one here now. It is, because it's something that we've talked about for a long time, and to set the intention and then get it done, and to see people walking in is great. So thank you for being a part of that. And Chris, would you be willing to lead us in a little process here to close this out?
Certainly.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is what's called a brain-heart meditation. We'll do it for just about 5 minutes, and it's a meditation that we've been using before we enter the labyrinth. And just tiny brief history of this. If you're familiar with the Heart Math Institute, this is from the Heart Math Institute, and there's been tons of research on this particular meditation. And the primary purpose for it is to bring your heart into energetic coherence, meaning from maybe a frazzled place or a chaotic place to a very centered place. And when you enter a labyrinth with your heart or from your heart, what's happening generally, is that you walk a labyrinth with less expectation. And that really is one of the best ways. That's to allow the divine or the energy of the space and of yourself to not be thinking so much, but then just to go into that intuitive place of your heart. So this meditation is designed to bring us there. So just to begin, go ahead and just put your feet flat on the floor or wherever you are. You can also do this lying down. And just for a few moments, just bring yourself into your heart. So what that means is just your awareness is just right there on your heart. And then the next step is just to be aware of your breathing and see if you can't have it feel like you're breathing right into your heart and exhaling from your heart. So just breathing in to the heart space and breathing out, exhaling from the heart space. So you're just bringing your full awareness to this activity. And just breathing in and exhaling from the heart. You might be experiencing a mind that still feels kind of busy, but that's okay. Just bring your focus to your heart. And the breathing in and the exhaling from the heart. And if you experience your breathing slowing down, that's good. And if you don't, that's fine too. So just breathing into the heart space, inhaling in, and exhaling from the heart space. And if you feel like putting your hand on your heart, that can sometimes feel good. But just continuing to breathe into the heart space and exhaling from the heart space. And now the next step is, and this is just all an imagination kind of thing, but if you can imagine all the activity in your brain, in your mind, in your brain, the top of your head, if you can just imagine all of that, just that energy just flowing down into your heart. And just imagining however that is for you. Maybe it's little beads of energy, maybe it's a color, maybe whatever it is for you, just allowing that energy from the top of your head to just trickle down into your heart. And at the same time, you're still breathing into the heart and exhaling from the heart. And it may be possible that you are feeling a warmth in the heart area. You might be feeling an expanded energy from the heart, or you might not be feeling anything there, and that's all good. All of it is good. But just knowing that wherever you place your awareness, it expands, which is a basic physics for everything. And in this meditation, when you're breathing into the heart with awareness, with consciousness, you're allowing that heart to expand. So just a few more moments of breathing into your heart and exhaling from the heart. And allowing yourself to feel what that feels like. A lot of times you'll hear the expression dropping into your heart, and this is one way to do that. And then, as this relates to labyrinth walking, as you feel ready, and that's totally up to you, obviously, when you feel ready, when you feel like you have dropped into your heart, then that's a really good time to start the walk. And you can continue to breathe into the heart as you walk, if you like. Or you can let it go and maybe pick it back up when you get to the center. It's just one way. There's so many ways to walk a labyrinth. But getting into your heart, dropping into your heart is certainly one of those ways. So I wish you wonderful success and happiness and joy in your next labyrinth walk at Mile High Church. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. It was beautiful. So again, thank both of you for being here today and talking about something that you really love. And thank you for all the service that you do too. So that's it for what we're thinking about today. Join us again soon, and we'll keep on going. See you soon.